it was quiet at first. I thought like there was something wrong with my phone. Everybody was being really quiet. Um,
No problem. Yeah, let's give a little more minutes for to before we start. So I think we still have another guest speakers to come in. So let's wait for a little more minute. But before I start, let me give an introduction about myself. And my name is Yalu, and I'm the co-founder of Melos Studio. And Melos Studio is a Web3 music platform where music lovers can find the tools to launch music NFTs, create or co-create remix music through NFTs. So it's a very fun platform, and if you're new here, feel free to check it out at www.melos.studio. And let's give another 2 minutes before we start, and thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Yalu, for having us over, and very excited to this talk. And thank you, Mr. Andy, as well, for taking your time to be here with the panel. Impressive work with the book, by the way. And hey, Yalu, I believe we had like a live stream AMA, kind of I would say like what is it, 7 months back. And how is the project doing? Like, how are you guys growing?
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's doing pretty well. I mean, like we've launched many features, including the music creation, Metis AI, which was at the beginning, and then we have Sonus, where people can remix a bunch of music under the same music style or music theme, and create a lot of different pieces of unique music with under the same style. And one of the most exciting is about to come is the virtual band, where people can build, co-create, co-work music online through web browser. So that is going to be very interesting.
That is indeed, man. Like we had a talk earlier, and I remember back then you were just launching your web version of creating your music. So like we can just play the piano using our mic, and it
Yeah.
was very figured out too. And it's really cool to see like how far you've grown into space, and you will continue to build the project of Melos Studio. So very happy to see you here and contributing to the Web3. That's it. That's it.
Thank you.
I don't like pauses. You know, it's I'm also I don't like
Sure.
these awkward pauses. So I try to like make these small talks conversations. So excuse me if like if
No
you guys
problem. Thank you.
are okay. Don't mind me.
No, 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 not at all. No. Yeah, and then there are many indie or emerging musicians came to Melos and continue coming to Melos to launch their music NFTs. And we now have like Sound of the Week program where it's like curated NFT drops, music NFT drops for the emerging artists. And there's Melos Idol, and for some selected artists, we also created the dedicated homepage. So if you go to Melos Studio, there are a lot of things that we're doing for indie or emerging musicians on Web3.
Nice. And yeah, that's it for me. And how's everyone doing? Mr. Andy, do you want to maybe say a few things first?
Yeah.
Hey man. Good evening, good morning to everybody. I'm just listening, and maybe I just give a very quick introduction. I'm Andy Lian from Singapore. I just recently wrote a book called NFT from Zero to Hero. Did pretty well, with the first launch at Bybit, and then subsequently, I have made my my launch on Amazon, and then Google Books, and then now the reason why I am so quiet is because I need to do some label work. Some of my books came my this printer sent me some books. I'm just trying to check them out and then sending it to my distributor tomorrow. So you will be covering Southeast Asia. So a lot of these bookshops will have this book. And then other than that, I'm a accredited investor. I'm a licensed fund manager. I run a fund that is about 50 mil right now. and I keep building in the space and try my very best to stay sound, stay humble, and get to know new friends, man. Like yourself, like the both of you, man. I think the conversation for tonight would be very fun, and very happy to contribute some knowledge, and let's have a good discussion, man.
Yeah, thank you, and congratulations to the book. It's nice, and thank you for continuing working through this Web3 space.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
And thank you for joining us here.
No problem.
Well, before I really begin, I do want to just say that this is an open conversation, open discussion, and there's absolutely no wrong answers at all. We are all in the Web3 space, pushing the boundaries, challenging the status quo. And during the Melos talk, this Twitter space, or the future Melos talks, we do want to discuss some of the most trending or challenging topics. And hopefully this will create more sparks and inspiration for this space, and people can continue building on this. And the topic to discuss today is CC0. It can also be known as no rights reserved. It is actually a license under Creative Commons, one of the public copyright licenses, where creators may free up their commercial copyrights or more, so other creators can further build or co-create or remix derivatives works upon this. And today we are very honored to have Daley from BSC Daily and Anndy. And Anndy actually did just give a quick introduction about himself, and a famous book author, NFT from Zero to Hero. And Daley, would you like to give an introduction about yourself?
Of course, man. Thank you so much. And yeah, it's going to be a fun conversation for sure. So, my name is Daley. I'm actually the community manager slash AMA host over at CoinWire. CoinWire is actually a news organization about all things blockchains and also cryptocurrencies. And so we cover pretty much, I would say, the majority of the famous blockchains right now, including the BNB chain, Solana, Ethereum, Avalanche, and there is a very small channel called Arbitrum as well, but it's not very famous. Currently, I'm joining with this account of BSC Daily. This is I would say our most famous and popular channel on Twitter. And yeah, if you are interested in the BNB chain ecosystem, you may have heard of us and you may have seen us appearing, on your Twitter feed. So that's basically me. About my organization, and about my own experience. So I've had around more than I would say less than 2 years experience in the space. So before, I was doing some traditional work as a teacher actually, and I moved on to Web3 as like a speculative like trader. So I bought coins and I just trade if it's higher in value. And I've made some sort of money, not very much. I made some sort of money, and then I lost all of it. So that's why I'm very intrigued in making my money back in the space. That's why I'm now working full time in Web3, and hopefully I make my money back. So that's my story.
Oh yeah, always have to take the challenge.
Dude, it's so sad, man. Like, you mad at? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Can we swear in this call, or should we keep things very polite?
No, don't worry. Just it's open this conversation anyway. So just go ahead.
All right, cool. Will be a lot of swearing.
Okay, the topic today we are talking about is CC0, and we know it's kind of trending nowadays for many NFT projects that taking on the CC0 initiative. And some of the famous projects we can think of are like Goblin Towns, Murphers, Loots, Nouns, or that many more. So kind of want to ask you guys about your would you just share your general ideas or thoughts about this CC0? And we start with Daley.
Yeah, for sure. CC0, man. So CC0, I believe I first heard of CCO back in 2021, I believe. But before I thought it was just some random thing appearing with the NFT community, and it's not really gonna mean anything, right? But after like fast forward until last week, you invited me to this like call, and then I have to dig some more research about this thing, and I realized that it's actually more than you think. So CCO is actually something called, and I believe you said it before, like it's called no copyrights NFT. So actually, the creators of these NFTs, they are giving away like full intellectual property rights to the public. So you as a community member can do whatever you want with this kind of NFT. CC0, I believe that's his name, not CCO. You can do whatever you want. You can, let's take an example. If, as you said, nouns down, right? It's a CCO. So you can take a JPEG, a picture of nouns down, print it on a shirt, sell it, or maybe you can build your whole business of restaurants, coffee shop, you name it, right? Around this kind of JPEG NFT of Now Style, and nobody's gonna say anything to you because you there is no intellectual property rights owned by one entity. It's for the public. So that's kind of my thought about CCO. You have full commercial rights to use whatever you like with this CCO.
Yeah, thank you. And how about Andy? Would you share your thoughts or your ideas?
Sure. I think the term CCO is not a stranger, to people who are in the space. I think, to be real honest about this, by default, many of these NFTs are just just in that category because everyone can just copy, everyone can just do whatever they want. So I think by default, a lot of these projects are CCO, in my opinion. And I think, putting up the term right now just make things a lot clearer, and it gives, creators more leeway to create whatever they want on top of whatever they have, you know. So is it a good thing? Um, I have different thoughts about it because having it to be CCO right at the beginning, there's also a lot of work, a lot of documentation. It's not just like you say this is CCO, but what if the source of the file is not CCO? It has been authored, it has been going through a couple of hands and a couple of changes. So I just want people to be more cautious, more cautious about this term CCO. This term, I think, if you are very familiar with places like Wikipedia, or you have to do a fair bit of licensing work, I think it is more like an author who wants to give other the rights to use to build upon the work that the author has created, right? So you look at the term itself, you need to really find the source of the creation, But then right now in our current space, as you can see with a lot of NFTs, everyone is copying everybody, and then who really have the original rights? These are some of the questions that the NFT communities and creators got to be accountable for. So short answer is I do like the term, but there's a lot of other responsibilities and repercussion, having that in the space right now. Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you. Actually, that's a very interesting thought. Do you have any other thoughts around this, Daley? I was just wondering, or if not, then I'm actually wondering, like, how do you guys think NFT projects are taking on the CCO concept? Why is it becoming trendy in this space?
Okay, I guess I'll start next. Yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Andy,
thanks.
insightful thing to think about. Okay, so um, the thing is, I believe the current NFT space that we have here. It's well, it's been around since I believe 2012, right? So we've had like 10 years of NFTs. We've known NFT for 10 years, but for the last 5 years, I believe we've seen like actual progressions in terms of NFT development. And it started with in 2017 with CryptoPunks and maybe CryptoKitties, where they actually applied these NFTs, CryptoKitties NFTs, into their game. So we see like real utilities there. So the space really catch it on, and people are now building intensively in this NFT space. And it's been only 5 years, I believe. And this term, I've not, I did not have extensive experience in space, so I've heard the term back in 2021. So I would assume that around then, the term CCO has gotten more popular, and we've got like around 1 to maybe 2 years getting to know what CC0 NFTs are. So the space is very young, and but if you look at in terms of business development, the NFT space is now being recognized by lots of big companies like Meta, Facebook, Instagram, and all of these traditional like fashion industries giants like Chanel and Nike as well. So for something that is very young to get recognized by a lot of these big organizations, we need to have some extensive tests. I would say some extensive um, evolution in the NFT space. We're not there yet. We're still very young. So um, I think that we need to test these CCO things out to see how it's going to unfold. And I think in the what and the next question is, I believe, why more and more projects are going with this CCO thing. Yeah, because it's still a new thing. I think it's trendy, and people oftentimes associate these new things as trendy things, and so they want to be the first of something, right? They want to contribute to the space, but they also want to be the first mover of something, the pioneers, and so they are moving on to CCO. The other reason that I believe they are using CCO more is because they want to, well, they want to give all rights to the public. I'm not very familiar with the IP rights. Maybe Mr. Andy Lian, he will elaborate more on this. But they want to give these rights to the public, so the public can freely use whatever they want with their project. So they want to give back to the community. Maybe that's why I think and we're seeing lots more people are going with this route.
Yeah,
I totally
thank
agree
you.
with you, man. Totally agree with you, Daley. But again, the strange things about our community is that to be very honest, we come up with a lot of different acronyms and so forth and so on. But then the term Creative Commons is actually a very commonly used term, and I think yes on the other side of the spectrum, I think what the original creator of this NFT, is they allow anyone to use the NFT for commercial reasons. They can just resell it. They can just draw a few mustache on it, and then they can resell it again. So you can actually see a lot of these creative common practices in the design arena. Or you can even see them in some of these photography studio, or the stock images. You see a lot of these creative commons that are there, but ultimately what they are trying to do is to allow the NFT, in our discussion, is allow the NFT for commercial purposes in numerous ways, without the need to give any attribution to the original artist, team, or creator. But again, I still want to go back to the same question. It's just more like it's a shit in, shit out mentality, right? So, is that artist really the most original creator of that artwork, or of that NFT? These are really some of the things that we really need to find out, before we get ourselves into any serious problems. As you can see, in the open market, any form of NFT, any form of design, you can see them, you can buy them, but it doesn't guarantee that they are the original creator. And then the original, when you become famous, the original creator might come to you and say, "Hey, dude, this is not a CCO kind of graphic, man, because the original rights comes from me, So there's a lot of this kind of, I'm just trying to throw this into the discussion, just to get the vibes going, and just to get some good discussion. I still want to go back to the fact that CC0 does not solve any copyright issues, although they say there's no copyrights, but there's an underlying possibility that we have really infringed certain copyrights that we do not know, So that's my take, man. Going back to the same thing, throwing that back to the panel, and let's continue to talk.
And thank you again. You did bring some very interesting thoughts. Hold on, let me take a pause here because I'm sure TP has just joined us, and sorry we started without you, TP. TP is the co-founder of famous NFT marketplace X2Y2, and TP, would you like to give a quick hello to everybody here?
Yes. Thank you for having me here, and I'm really sorry I messed up with the time, and I thought this will start an hour later. So sorry for being late, and my proud to be here and talk about the CC0 thing. And okay, CC0. I was thinking maybe, but anyway, yeah. So X2Y2 is an NFT marketplace, and now it's #2 marketplace on Ethereum. And yeah, we are doing our best to add more value to the space, and try to be the big brother OpenSea there. And yeah, today I actually I just talked with Yalu before. Like I the first time I know something about CC0 is maybe 20 years ago when I started using Flickr, and that's the first time I noticed that there's such kind of thing ever exists. And yeah, and actually it's been there for a very, very long time, but until nowadays people are again talking about CC0 again. So yeah, so actually I really spent some time and try to figure out why there are so much hype in this kind of thing. And yeah, I'm coming with a mindset of learning today. So I think I would join other topics later, but from just give me some time to get customized with the questions and what we are talking about here. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. But thank you for joining us. And yeah, coming back to Andy's talk, I think you did bring a pretty interesting and very correct idea that a concept that Creative Commons CC0 is actually not exactly the same as copyright law, like legally. They can exist in a way different and parallel spaces. They have similar concepts, but they in terms of application, they can be very different. Meaning that first, legally, there should be some kind of definition in graphics, graphic arts, or musical art, or different type of art form that defines who is the original author or original creator of a particular artwork. But then there are definitions. There should be also some definitions to differentiate the derivative works of that original artwork, meaning that if legally they should pay or contribute to the original creator. But if we put everything in CC0, then we might still need to define who or define what is the original artwork, and then open source that artwork. And if that artwork that is being CC0'd, then how about the previous ascendant artwork associated to that? If it happens, we find out that eventually this artwork has previous owners of the copyright. Then how do we work on that? I think that is something that it's going to be very difficult to answer, even if we have investigators to work on that. And I actually do not know how they do define that kind of work, or it may depend differently in different type of forms of artwork. So I don't know. Do you guys have any examples you might want to talk about?
I just want to add on a little bit more. If you look at Wikipedia or Wikimedia, people can openly contribute their Creative Commons images, on the platforms like this, for example, But if you understand how the graphic world is like, if you look at the properties of each images, there's actually some properties and some details of where the photo originated from and so forth and so on, right? So by right, if you are the original owner, you can find your some details of your images on the image property, and then when you upload onto places like Wiki Common, there are moderators, there are all these guys who have nothing much to do but looking at all these things, they will say that, hey, your name is Andy, and then you say that this photo is yours, but when I look at the attribution, it belongs to Prakash, from India, for example, then they'll take your photo down because they say that the copyrights is not yours, you can't do this, da da da. But I tell you the sad truth is, if I were to go to use the same photo, I do a screen capture, and then I go back to Wikipedia or Media to upload the same photo again. They can't check anything, because when I do a screen capture, all those attributes are gone. And then they'll say, oh, the photo is good. You are the copyright thing, man. You have the rights to do this and the rights to do that. So these are real examples that are happening. I want to be very frank. I didn't know that this Creative Commons thing is really popular on NFTs. Until our good friend Yalu mentioned that. We are going to talk about this. CC0. I was like, CC0 NFT. Okay. In my heart, when he called me the other day, I was like, oh, shouldn't that, most of the NFTs now we see in the market is all Creative Commons, man, because nobody gives a damn on how you're going to edit it. As long as you don't touch the big five, the big five crypto player, crypto NFT, graphics. I think no one is going to care about it. But then again, there might be a real good reason why CC0 become an acronym, or a good term to talk about it. Or is this only more popular in the Chinese world? Is this also widely talked about in the English world? I'm not sure, man. It's just like, when I talk to my friends, whenever I tell them about about Web3 and so forth, that my Chinese dude friends will come and say, hey, I tell you, well, right now we are in Web 2.5. I say, what the hell is a Web 2.5, man? So again, is this really very trendy, or what's the reason, for this whole trend? Is there like a reason why it become trendy?
Yeah, and I'd like to
Web 2.5.
Web 2.5, yeah, some people also ask me about Web 2.5. I think it's like a hybrid between Web 2 and Web 3, where, like, I know, well, we're not here to talk about Web 2.5, but go back to Mr. Andy's questions about how this kind of trend started. I believe it started with crypto toads and also nouns down, and most recently, I believe Goblin Towns. They are these NFTs of, I don't want to say hideous goblins. It will like maybe damage or maybe affect some of the Goblin Towns lovers in here, but they do look hideous, right? They look terrible. But the pictures, the JPEGs only, not the underlying technology in the project. And they blew up and they sold out. And even in my communities, my private community, some people have been talking about that. Like, you've got to mint these Goblin Town NFTs. It's going to be the next big thing. What is it? It's CC0, like that. So that's why I heard about this, and I think that is when it's kind of being blown up by the community. I know, and maybe TP can walk us through the kind of history of this happening as well.
Yeah, as far as I know, when I first saw CC0 on Flickr, a lot of people will use that's because Flickr has made some product change on that. They allow people to search by the license types, and at that time, a lot of people are writing blogs and they need a cover image for their article, and they need such kind of like images that won't get them into trouble. So that's why people are searching for CC0, and that concept has been very popular in at least in those kind of image uploading services. And I would argue that because CC0 is, if my understanding is correct, that CC0 can be something like equal to public domain. So I would say if we really want to understand what CC0 in NFT space can contribute to our future, then we just need to look back to see how those kind of public domain contents have helped us or helped us human nature. So yeah, so that's my point of view. So of course it could be just a hype word at this time, but I definitely think those kind of public domain things have something special if we consider this whole thing not in a 1 year period but in a maybe 10-year or 100-year span. Then I would say there will be something interesting.
Yeah, thank you. I do have one question or sort of question. Like, is there a pros and cons for projects taking on the initiative of CC0, CC0, or CC0? Like, is there anything bad that can happen, or how and when would CC0 going to help the project?
Yeah, and I'd like to start as with thank you, Mr. Andy, for bringing up a very important and very insightful points, which is we don't know the actual like owner creators of this graphic, of this art, of these NFTs. So a project that's claimed to be 100% CC0 CCO, it could not be the case, right? It could potentially not be the case.
Is it me or Yalu is gone into space?
Sorry?
Okay.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, so one of the problems that I can see with this, CCO claim to be NFT projects now, from Mr. Andy, is that yes, we don't know who can be the actual creator of this project. So let's just say Nouns Down, right? A very famous project, a CCO project, and they get very famous, and all the communities behind them are very famous, and people start building like derivatives businesses around this Nouns Down, and all of a sudden there is a guy, from who knows where, starting to claim that he has been drawing like this since he was born. So right now, all the things that people build are going to be ruined by these copyright things, right? So that's one problem I could see. Another thing is that about the branding. Now, let's just say that all of these CC0 NFTs, CC0 NFTs has no underlying, like no hidden like creators or anything, right? It's fully CC0, it's fully for the public, no intellectual property rights whatsoever, right? So we basically leave our brands to the public to use, to go nuts, to do whatever they want. So it's you lack the control of the image of your brand. So let's say Marvel, if they were a CCO project, it would be very terrible because Marvel, we all know they are aiming at a younger like audience, superheroes, kids. So if we allow if Marvel allows the community to freely use their image, their brands for whatever reasons, there can be terrible things happening. The people, the community, they can use this to promote their wrong ideologies and maybe like toxic, uh, videos on YouTube or whatever, right? So it can ruin a very huge and established brand. So we lack control on that. And I would say the last problem that I can see with this is it's gonna be a potential gold mines for scammers because there are no IP rights. You can do whatever you want. You can just take like an NFT photo, set it as your profile pic. Basically, you're tricking people to believe that you own that NFT. right? I can imagine there are going to be some very elaborate scammers out there. They can claim that they own these NFTs, or they are the owners, they are the creators in it, of this NFT, of this business specifically, and they are going to trick these people who are new to Web3, because Web3 now is very small. We still need more people to tune in, to adopt the technology, and people are gullible, man. Because I was once gullible, right? I was scammed before, so I know that they are going to be scammed easily with this, no copyright thing. So that's just my takes from it. What do you guys think?
Actually, that's another interesting thought, and we should all be aware of the scammers as well. But I think, for example, like Twitter and Instagram now, kind of, they have this feature or this function that can display the NFT of your wallet in your wallet. So kind of verifies it, right, in a way, I guess. But still, it doesn't really eliminate all the scammers. So that is actually another point that all people should be aware, be cautious about. And Andy, yep, you do have want to say something, and also TP as well. But Andy, let's go first. You're already on the speaker. Or sorry, I think Andy may have a connection problem.
Okay, just
TP, go ahead.
Let me say something. I would argue that even without this CC0 saying, scammers will still use images, whatever images they want to use. So that just makes those scammers, legally approved. But those scammers, they don't care, right? They are scammers. So I would say we can contribute to the cons of the CC0 standard. Yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, now that I think about it, that's true. They don't care about anything. Yeah. Yeah, they can't do that. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Thank you, TP.
Yeah. Andy?
Sorry, I went offline. I didn't catch what was discussed before this, but the thing is, let's put it in another perspective, right? So if today, we just think that scammers are around, those really creative people are taking advantage of copyright items, so whatever the case is, from a buyer perspective, I think it is a lot safer to be buying NFTs from reputable marketplaces. If possible, if you are a new NFT user or new NFT buyer, maybe your very first NFT should be in some of these centralized marketplaces, reputable ones. Reputable as in, they vet all the project before they put it up onto the marketplace. I think those centralized marketplaces can serve that purpose, because to be really honest, whether you're a scammer, you're not a scammer, to be very honest, I'm not sure what all your age groups are. I've seen people selling things that looks exactly like Naruto, and then they just change the name and then they are selling it, but for those people who are not into the Japanese anime scene or manga scene, they would not know that bloody logo is Naruto, so forth and so on. So I think from a more precautionary note, I think it is better for new users, who are still trying to cope with how the wallet is going to work, where your asset is going to fly to, do try, to get your first NFTs from centralized exchanges that are reputable. That can reduce some form of risk, from whatever thing that you have bought. So this is from a buyer standpoint. From a seller standpoint, right now a lot of these projects, they launched their project, and then the actual designer is actually from Fiverr, you know, the $5 marketplace, you know, where you just ask people to design and so forth. I think even the creator themselves, you know, do not know whether this thing have copyright or not. You know, so we just got to be very careful. You know, we just got to buy from the reputable sources. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely. I think having blockchain, I believe having blockchain is a good thing in terms of like providing a history of the sales record. So in a way, it can be a tool to provide like history sales record, meaning we can trace if it's been traded or if it's authentic or so. And of course, we understand scammers can still cheat on those and just sell to himself, like transfer himself from this, well, his maybe 2 or 3 of his own wallets. But still, the more transaction it has gone, and we know that it should provide a little better proof of authentication. So I guess that can also help. So I mean, we've been discussing like, I was just wondering, like, I personally believe having CC0 can provide more creativity to the space or the projects that's under CC0. Do we have any counter examples in this idea, or does this sound right? It provides more creativity.
Yeah, TP, do you want to start?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, actually, that's something I would like to ask Yalu about. Till now we are talking about the question, things like just using this kind of CC0 contents. It's basically just using them, right? But actually, we can combine them together and do something more creative on those kind of contents, as using them as materials. So I think music, like Melos is trying to do now, music, if you use part of the tracks like CC0 tracks, then maybe there will be much more new things getting created from there. So yeah, I would like to learn more from Yalu about that.
Yeah, thank you. I think music is a very interesting industry because it's less easy to be seen. Like with the NFT projects, like most of them are graphics, right? So it's easier to display on your social profile photos or things like that. It's easier to see. Music is actually a content that has to be heard. So it's a different form of feelings, different type of emotions. When people create or when people write or create or remix music, a lot of times we do it, in our home band or in our garage. We just enjoy it ourselves, and but of course, a lot of times we still want other people to hear them, and if we want to publicly play my remix version of other people's songs legally, I do have to ask their approvals, and I think Melos Studio, of course, on our platform there are computer generated music that can be used by our users. I guess we never announced them as CC0, but I think it's still, I'm sure it's okay for other people to remix on top of that. And we do actually want to see more inspirations or more derivative work of this music people can build on. So yeah, that's one of the possibility that Melos Studio, we on Melos Studio would love to see more music and more different type of music styles or genres and all that. So that's from the Melos Studios perspective. Thank you for the question.
And also on Yalu's point, I mean, you brought up some very good point because, as you said, right, music is a different form of, well, it's a different form of feeling, right? It's not like graphics, it's not visual. So you heard the music, but you don't imagine things in your head. So I think it's harder for people to remember that music and to search that music afterwards. So what do you guys think about this? Because I believe, as the CCO goes for NFT space, I think it's going to be harder for the music artist to, well, to license their NFT kind of music NFT as CCO, because it's going to be harder to go around. As I believe, if a project use or license their NFT project, a creator license their NFT project as CCO, they want the public to basically do the marketing for them, right? It depends on the public to just do whatever they want with it, to create anything with it. But as music NFT, it's it's really hard for me to make a music goes viral because it's not visual. You cannot print a music on a T-shirt. You cannot build like a whole restaurant theme based on that music piece. And let's take a easier like example here. If you see like let's say a Bored Ape NFT on the Times Square in New York, and you look at it, you'll be like, oh damn, that ape looks really cool. The design, the graphic looks really cool, right? But if you listen to a music piece on Times Square, okay, let's say you remember you remember the kind of the melody, right? Afterwards, you go back home and you search, like what? Okay, so how does this song go? What is the name of this song? Dun, 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 dun. It's really hard to search afterwards. Whereas as an image, I can just go online and I can search a picture of an ape on New York Times Square. And I think that I can search about this project easier, and I think CCO is more suitable for these visual type NFTs than the music NFTs or sound NFT. What do you guys think?
That's that's a very interesting way of a very interesting example that you brought. I think I guess well, music can be famous. For example, if a piece of music is used a lot in TikTok, I mean, a lot of people will remember the melody, but perhaps it doesn't have a name or it doesn't even have any lyrics. It can still be used a lot in those TikTok or short films. But again, it's not, like I said, it's not print. It cannot be printed on the T-shirt or displayed on the Times Square or anything. So people hear it, then they remember that in their memory, but they can't just go with it directly, right? So it's more difficult for music to be heard this way. I mean, to be seen or this way. I guess then that brings me a different thought that I guess in a way music on blockchain has some similarity to CC0 concept because you can have the ownership of this piece of music, but just like with the CC0, you can have ownership of this graphic through NFT. If it's CC0 NFT project NFT, then but how to use it is a different story. Yes, Andy.
I'm sorry, I kind of lost it, but I just want to go back to Daley's comment. I think number one, whenever we talk about song, it's not necessarily just the song itself. In today's context, the song can be the music video, right? So you go to Times Square, you still see the bloody music video, right? So if it's a song, you could have if it's a singers, for example, you have a very nice cover, and if you can do the cover nicely, people can still relate back to the song. And if you don't know the song, and if you want to find out about a song, you could even use Google. You can just hum a tune. They can find the song for you. You just go da 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 da, whatever you say, they can try to find it for you. So I think I think in terms of music, I also had a separate discussion with Yalu the other day. I think in terms of music, as long as you look at music and you being the artist, you look at things more holistically. A music video, a nice cover, or even coming out with a book, or coming out with some kind of a merchandise. I think it is revolving around the brand that you have. So I think music wise, it should be pretty cool, to be honest. I really look forward to see Melos studio, growing to a certain level, especially during this bear market. Everyone can just go in and create some music. Why not? Just be a musician for a time being. And then he mentioned about blockchain and NFTs. You know, and music. Traceability and sort of. I think well, that's the whole purpose of having an NFT on blockchain. A lot of things can be traced, can be tracked, and that's the cool part about it. And again, I really hope to see more, more users using Creative Commons, plus AI, because there's AI generated music, there's AI generated images. Actually, all these things can add up to become a really nice album. It all depends on the mood of the AI, right? So I hope to see more things, man. Really.
Thank you. The mood of AI. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for this. Sorry, Daley, do you want to add more to this?
Oh no, it was a funny comment. With AI too.
Yeah.
And how crazy is that? Like these AI arts, I believe. I don't know. Designers in the future, they might lose some of their jobs. Maybe I don't know. These AI arts that look incredible too.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
I use some of them, and they are really cool. But the reason why I use the mood of AI is because during different times. Sorry, I drank too much during the F1 week. So during different times, during different days, the AI actually generate out different images. So it's so strange. Same keywords, different images, and some really look like crap. So it really depends on the mood of the AI. Really, you guys should try it, and you will know what I mean, man.
Yeah, no wiser words has been spoken. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you again. Yeah, if I go back to music and CC0, I think my biggest challenge or thoughts, challenging thoughts, is that there are those big corporate record labels who has a very centralized copyright, music copyrights under their controls. But and of course, CC0 is another extreme where all the copyrights are open. So I'm also wondering, like, there should be something in the middle between the two extremes that can be built, so that will also encourage creativity and also provide enough profit to the creators. And I'm sure it should exist somewhere in the Web3 space through the NFT blockchain technology, where we can trace the original creator, original artwork, and also prove the derivative works that comes from this original artwork. So I'm just also wondering, do we have any examples, or I don't know if they're good or bad, but any examples around this kind of field, this middle space?
Oh, you mean the middle space, like what BSC is doing with their collection when they're giving
Yeah.
over? Okay, yes, yeah. One example already. So basically, they're giving IP rights to the buyers of each apes NFTs. But I also read there was an article a few months ago, maybe talking about how they kind of misled the buyers into thinking that they actually have the IP rights, even though they're not. the labs behind it, they still own the IP rights, right? So I don't want to get into details because I would upset people, and frankly, I would want experts in this field like Mr. Andy and TP to talk in depth about this problem. But yeah, if you want to talk about some middleman, then I think BSC is a good example. Um, okay, about the if you are also asking about what kind of future businesses that we can see happening within the Web3 space in association with CC0 NFT, then I believe there is one project called Croaks. They are a 3D version of Cryptos. So Cryptos is one of the pioneer in CC0 in NFT, right? They're a 2D version, and then there is this kind of product developed by two very um, enthusiast Cryptos holder. I don't know their names, but they created a project called Croaks, and they made all these 2D versions of Cryptos into the 3D versions, and they minted it as the CC0 NFTs, and they created a whole new NFT project based on the CC0 Cryptos NFT. So that's just one thing, because it's beautiful that we can see lots and lots of ventures, lots and lots of business, lots and lots of derivatives being derived from this CCO thing, because it's free to use. Everyone can truly use whatever they want with it. Maybe in the future we can see like metaverse projects having your favorite NFT, CCO NFT within their game 3D running around, right? It's free. So it's very exciting what we can do with CCO NFT in the area of gaming and metaverses.
Yeah, that's nice, and I will definitely check out those projects. Thank you for bringing them up. And I was wondering, Andy or TP, do you have any comments to add on this?
Not exactly, but I agree. Yeah, it will be very fun. A fun thing to see when those kind of CC0 NFTs are popping up everywhere, and yeah, some reason why people are give a high value for their NFTs is their specials. There's just only one of them. That's the whole 10K collection is about. Each piece of them is unique, and when those kind of NFTs can popping up everywhere, yeah, will people consider where the original NFT is? I want to have that, or it's just they just feel like, okay, everybody can have that, so I don't want that anymore. So that's something I'm pretty curious and looking forward to see the result. Yeah.
I also want to add a very, very quick one. I think the example that Daley has given, something that's 2D turned 3D because it's CCO. I think this is abuse of the CCO and NFT motive. To me, if you build on the CCO content, and then you beautify it, make something new, I think it's cool, man. But if it's just from a 2D to 3D, and then there's no stopping for another person who put the 3D with a black color spectacle, and then another collection, another 10,000 collection with the curly hair, this become really degen, So I just felt that we should really encourage. We have NFT platform owners here. We should really encourage people to build and create NFTs, with their own concept, and try to grow with it, and not just purely, without a better word, money grabbing in that manner. It's not going to do well for the industry as a whole, So I just try to urge everyone to really create and really put in the effort to make good NFTs, man.
What you're saying is you're trying to encourage people to create more originality or more creativity, and instead of just directly like how do I say, transpose something that was already existing, right?
Yeah, man. So this is my 2 cents worth.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if I take too much time, but
No
his own, right? Mr. Andy has his opinion about this, this situation where turning 2D into 3D is kind of being abused NFTs. I would agree. In under the grounds where NFTs are not CC0, right? But in this case, cryptos, they are fully, to me, if I understand correctly, they even, they publicly said that their collection is going to be CC0. So they actually encourage these creators to do whatever they want with their collections. So I found out about Crooks, the 3D version of their 2D NFTs, through the project themselves. They actually retweet one of the tweets and they said this is amazing work by the two holders of the NFT, and they actually encourages people to actually do the similar things, right? And talk, and you said also about, it's going to be very harmful to the NFT market. uh, yes, okay, I think that there's going to be some sort of very like harmful things happening in the future. We don't know it yet, right? But for now, I think it's a very good way to, I would say, spread more your projects to the world. And in contribution to the point of TP, he was saying that, if a picture of a toad, like 3D or 2D, it goes around the world, goes viral, people are going to start looking for the original copy of that toad. And then it actually raises the value of the crypto NFT originally. One example that I can think of is let's say the Pokemon cards. Right, the Pokemon cards, especially the Charizard, the first edition, right? It has insane value. Like one may go up to like $1 million. I know it's not CC0, but it's just an example of how, you know uh, a Pokemon culture, it covers like in the world, like people know what a Pokemon is, right? The young generation, and so more people are aware of a project, there will be more demands for that original copy. You know what I mean? And so that drives up the value of this like Charizard original card to like an insane value. You know what I mean? If I'm being unclear, just let me know. But I'm trying to say that it's not all bad, because if something is widely popular, adopted by a lot of people, by a lot of cultures, then it will drives up the overall project's awareness and then value. That's just my opinion on this.
Yeah, and taking on this thought further, I'm imagining, I'm now imagining that the more derivative works that happens, say this, regardless of the format of this derivative work, it should bring more hype, or at least more awareness to the original work, given that it is attributed to the original work.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess, if you want your project to be CC0, then you must understand that there are going to be, people abusing your image for their own interest, right? That's kind of like a, how do I put this in English? Sorry, not a native speaker here. Sorry, guys. Yeah, that's kind of one thing that one leap of faith that they have to take, right? They're gonna have to sacrifice their, rights of owning this picture, because initially they want their projects to be CC0, so that's what they have to do, and so it
True.
depends. Yeah, case by case varies. If you want to be CC0, do you have a very thought thought thoughtful and planned out, strategy with your brands, and do whatever you want with it. If you are not CC0, then be strict. If someone is using your 2D version, turning it into 3D, sue his ass, right? Copyright him. Take his money. Do whatever you want with it.
True, true, true. Okay. Um, yeah, think we are taking to this hour fully, and thank you all for joining us, and thank you all for participating this Melos talk. It's been very, very interesting, and hope to talk to you again very soon. Thank you again to TP, to Andy, and to Daley.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Yalu and Melos Studio, for organizing this wonderful event. I think this is a beautiful way and one of the best way possible to help the community understand a little bit better about different things in the NFT space, especially this topic is about CC0. Thank you so much, Mr. Andy Lian. You're an incredible guest, and you have like an expert in this field, right? And so I've learned so much valuable things from you as well about the IP rights. And definitely will be reading your books if it has like a pirates version on the internet. I don't know. I'm too poor to buy your book offline. I'm sorry, but I will be checking it out. And TP as well. Thank you so much for building a wonderful platform. Take care, guys.
Let's
Okay,
catch
thank
up
you.
more.
Bye.
Let's
Bye,
catch up
guys.
more. Bye. Bye,
Bye. Catch
guys.
you later. Bye.
Bye.